Hey guys, so today we're looking at some of the more rare and limited production Dodge Magnums. Simply put, I wanted to see which colors, trim levels, options, and years were the rarest on this short-lived wagon. I know you guys seem to like Dodge Magnum content, and I was trying to think of what I could do with this vehicle, and this is what I've come up with. So let's get right into it. First off, we'll do a quick overview of the Magnum. Early in 2003, the Dodge Magnum SRT8 concept car was announced to the world. Dieter Zetsche, who was the president and CEO of Chrysler at the time, talked about the Magnum, saying, quote, "In terms of performance, design, and function, the Dodge Magnum will leave its mark as one of the coolest vehicles on the road," end quote. And at the time, it had been over 30 years since Dodge had released Hemi-powered rear-wheel drive cars. Fast forward a year later to 2004, and the real Dodge Magnum was released for purchase as an '05 model. The Magnum had bold and distinctive styling, redefining what the current generation of American wagons would look like, and creating something different from not just the other wagons, but most other vehicles in general. Overall, it's a crossover between a muscle car and station wagon, but still accommodates 5 passengers. Some called it a sports wagon, while Dodge called it a sport tourer. Ultimately, the Magnum had a short life with just 4 model years from 2005 to 2008, and over that time frame, it sold 184,299 times. So, on to the rare vehicles. We're actually going to start with the rarest Magnum trim level that was ever produced, and that might surprise you, but it would be the Magnum police vehicle. With the introduction of the Charger in 2006, Dodge offered a pursuit and squad car to various law enforcement agencies. And of course, the Charger was a popular choice for many, being used in several American, Canadian, and Mexican police organizations, along with the US federal government and military police, as well as globally, including Chile, Czech Republic, Bahrain, Kuwait, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. The Magnum, however, not so popular. Offered for 2006, 2007, and 2008, the Magnum Pursuit car sold a grand total of 733 times, 698 of those in the US and just 35 in Canada. Of that total, 37.9% were the V6 model, and the remaining 62.1% were the Hemi. That's also a tiny 0.4% of all the Magnums produced. It's not hard to see why the Charger was the more popular choice, as the Magnum Pursuit MSRP was $28,275 for the V6 and $30,505 for the V8, both of those around $2,000 more than the same Charger Pursuit models. As for some specs on this Magnum, I'll throw some of them up on screen, but these police vehicles were more heavy-duty than civilian models and built for the job. They had heavy-duty cloth front bucket seats with a vinyl folding rear seat, a column shifter, severe duty cooling system, heavy-duty brakes and 4-wheel independent suspension, and 18 by 7.5-inch steel wheels with P225/60 R18 tires. Of course, there was tons of standard electrical equipment, like a police equipment interface module, security alarm systems, software-controlled headlights and taillights, a stealth mode switch, 3 pairs of twisted 18-gauge wiring for sirens or speakers, and a more heavy-duty 160-amp alternator and 800 cca battery. Moving on to performance, the V6 used here was the 3.5-liter high output, with 250 horsepower and 250 pound-feet of torque. With the additional weight of a police vehicle, that gave the Magnum Pursuit a 0 to 60 time of 9.14 seconds and a quarter-mile time of 17 seconds, with a top speed of 132 miles per hour. The 5.7-liter Hemi V8 had 340 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque, along with the multi-displacement system that could alternate to 4-cylinder mode, improving fuel economy by up to 20%. The V8, of course, had better acceleration, 0 to 60 in 6.55 seconds, quarter mile in 15.05 seconds, and a top speed of 134 miles per hour. But again, all of those numbers lag behind the Dodge Charger models. Both engines were paired with a 5-speed automatic transmission, which had an electronically modulated converter clutch, as well as the auto stick feature where you could shift yourself. The next rarest trim level of the Magnum was the top-of-the-line SRT8. This was also the most expensive and best performing Magnum, with the price range ranging from $37,320 to $38,105. Also, it's worth noting that the SRT8 was only produced from 2006 to 2008, and not in 2005, where the RT was the top model at that time. The bulk of these were assembled in the first year in 2006, 2,970 of them, so that represents 71.9% of the total amount of SRT8s built, and in total there were 4,129 for the US and Canada combined. The facelifted 2008 version is extremely rare, only 239 made, or just 5.8% of the SRT total. In total, SRT8s make up just 2.2% of all the Magnums that Dodge produced. To justify the higher cost, the SRT8 had a sportier look, with a unique front end with a honeycomb grille and lower fascia, red Brembo brakes with 4-piston calipers, 20x9-inch 5-spoke SRT wheels, and Goodyear F1 high-performance tires. The firmer load-leveling suspension also reduced the ride height by half an inch. Inside there were leather bucket seats with big side bolsters, suede inserts, and the SRT8 badge embroidered in the headrests. As mentioned, Dodge updated the Magnum for the last year, and the SRT8s received a functional hood scoop, more aggressive front fascia with an air dam and larger brake cooling ducts, a honeycomb mesh grille insert, a new instrument panel and center console, leather trimmed steering wheel, and a carbon fiber pattern on the door handles. Of course, the main draw here was the 6.1-liter Hemi V8 engine, which pumped out 425 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. That was paired to a 5-speed automatic. The SRT8 sees a 0 to 60 time of about 5.3 seconds, and a quarter-mile run in 13.7 seconds. Very respectable for a heavy wagon, but still about 0.3 of a second slower than its Charger SRT8 counterpart. The next rarest Magnum trim level was a bit of a surprise to me, that being the all-wheel drive models. These were offered in SXT or RT only, with all the other models having rear-wheel drive standard. In total, there were 5,930 SXT and 7,216 RT all-wheel drives, together accounting for only 7.1% of all the Magnums produced. So that means that about 1 in 13 SXT Magnums were all-wheel drive, and about 1 in 7 RT Magnums were all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive models added a price increase of between $2,000 to $2,500 depending on the year, and you can find some examples of that on screen. As for more specs on the all-wheel drive, this was the same system that was also used on the Dodge Charger and Chrysler 300C. These cars had a different offset, so the rear-wheel drive wheels won't fit despite the same bolt pattern. The wheels were 18 by 7.5 with 225/60 R18 tires. This all-wheel drive system had a Magna Stair transfer box with full-time all-wheel drive with a 38/62 torque split front to rear, so that meant that the all-wheel drive system was always available and couldn't be turned off. A switch was made in 2009, but by that time the Magnum was gone. Now that we've covered the rarest trim levels, we can take a look at the years of production. The rarest, or you could say least produced year of the Magnum would be 2008, coincidentally the last year of production. There were just 16,196 Magnums built, which makes up just 8.8% of the total amount that Dodge built over the 4 model years. So these are by far the hardest ones to find on the used market. If you want a V8, they get even more limited, with only 1,258 of these being a 5.7 or 6.1 Hemi, including police vehicles. As we discussed with the SRT8, the Magnum got a restyling inside and out for this year. The grille was lowered and stretched horizontally to appear more car-like and less so like a truck, and the grille itself was less pronounced and a bit softer. The headlights are cleaner with a wedge shape, while the lower part of the fascia is more aerodynamically designed and has larger areas for air to flow through. The SRT8 got upper and lower honeycomb mesh grille inserts and a more aggressive air dam with large brake cooling ducts, and it's also got a deeper roof-mounted diffuser. The inside was also upgraded with a new instrument panel and center console, and better soft-touch surfaces all over the armrests, center console, and door trim. New options were added as well, like Sirius Backseat TV, the Chrysler MyGig 20GB hard drive system, and Uconnect with an integrated iPod Surface. Now, nearing the end of the video, we'll turn our attention to paint, looking at which colors were the most and least produced. Overall, there were 14 different colors, some available just for 1 year, others for a few, and some for all 4 years. Just for fun, I'll show them all. So we have Bright Silver, Brilliant Black, Inferno Red, Cool Vanilla, Midnight Blue, Stone White, Magnesium, Silver Steel, Dark Titanium, Steel Blue, Tor Red, Mineral Gray, Marine Blue, and Light Sandstone. It appears that there were 4 colors that were pretty limited. We've got Tor Red on 2,562 Magnums, which is just 1.39% of them. Next was Dark Titanium, 2,269 of those, or just 1.23%. Getting even more limited was Marine Blue, on 1,302 wagons, which is just 0.71%. And the rarest color of all was Light Sandstone, available on just 374 Magnums, only 0.2%. So that gives you an idea of which colors would be the hardest to find nowadays. On the flip side, the most popular colors began with Cool Vanilla, on 14,888 Magnums, which is 8.08% of all of them. After that, we have Inferno Red, 26,823 of them, or 14.55%. The final 2 aren't really surprising at all. We got Brilliant Black with over 35,000 Magnums, 19.11%, and the most popular, and also of course the least rare, would be bright silver, representing 19.67% of Magnums, with over 36,000 of them found in this color. There were also about 10 police Magnums that either did not have their color released, or it wasn't a color that fit on this list, so that's also taken into account with this data. The final thing to look at would be the rarest color by model, so that includes SE, SXT, and SXT all-wheel drive, RT and RT all-wheel drive, SRT8, and police. We'll do the rarest 3 for each model, otherwise one color would dominate the list. So for the SE, the rarest 3 colors are light sandstone, marine blue, and tour red. SXT rarest 3 would be light sandstone, dark titanium, and marine blue, and SXT all-wheel drive consists of the same 3 in that order. RT and RT all-wheel drive have the same 3 colors again, but marine blue and dark titanium switch spots. The SRT8 is different with steel blue, tour red, and inferno red. And finally for the police cars, interestingly we have tour red, marine blue, and midnight blue. So if you're still watching, you've reached the end of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I tried to give you as many details as possible on these Magnums. Let me know which one was your favorite, if you own any of these or you happen to have a rarer one, and if I might have missed something. That's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for all your Mopar content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.